This didn't feel like a psychological thriller. It felt like an exercise in frustration. That's kind of what I was thinking about when I was watching Ballad of a Small Player, starring Colin Farrell, Tilda Swinton, and Fala Chen. Not sure if I pronounced her first name correctly. Netflix recently opened up the screener of this for me, so I do appreciate that. I wish I could have had a more positive experience with this movie. However, I also want to add the caveat that this is based on a book of the same name. It came out in 2014 by a British author named Lawrence Osborne. And I've done a little bit of digging into this story to see how it compares to the film adaptation. It's pretty similar overall. It does seem like there are some divergences in the storyline. So I'm not sure if fans of the book will enjoy the movie, but they might. I mean, I don't think I would have liked the book. And I wasn't a huge fan of the movie. Despite my opening line, I don't necessarily regret having watched it, but it was a little aggravating, and it's largely because of the type of character that Colin Farrell plays. So I'll give you a little bit of the synopsis of this movie. Colin Farrell plays an English con man on the run in Macau. He's a gambler, he's addicted to gambling, he's got a drinking problem, and he's just at rock bottom. He's on the run because, obviously, he's done something wrong. And Tilda Swinton is a private investigator who's pursuing him. While he's at this casino, he has a really bad run of luck, and the lady that works there, I think her name was Dao Min. She's the character that Fala Chen played, and the lady at the casino offers him a line of credit, but basically what ended up happening as a result of that interaction between the two of them was that it opened up this kind of semi-relationship that developed. And the reason that they connected is presented in large part as them being very similar. And you kind of find that out a little bit as we learn more about the character of Dao. There's a bit to like about this film. I thought it was shot very well. I liked the cinematography, the interesting camera angles that were used to demonstrate his moments of intense distress. Very effective. I mean, we've seen shots like that before, and they are effective because they're so off kilter and they just not right to your eyes. So I thought that was done very well. The acting was very good. Colin Farrell he's a great actor. I've known this for a while. It took me a bit to warm up to him because in his younger years, I wasn't really a fan. I felt like he was a bit too much into himself, but I feel like he's kind of matured quite a lot over the years. And not that he was ever a bad actor, but I just feel that he's got such a grasp on being able to convey human emotion with just his facial expressions. And there's a scene in this movie where there are these various things that you can tell are going on within him, and it's all playing out on his face. And I thought that he did such a good job with that. And I really wanted redemption for this guy. Unlike the character in another review I did called The Mastermind, I actually wanted Farrell's character to end up on the right path. The problem is, he made that extremely difficult because of the type of person he was, his addiction to gambling, his gluttony almost. I mean, there is a scene where he is gorging himself on food, and it is so nasty. I had to look away because it was triggering my gag reflex. Obviously, the intent of that scene was to make you feel grossed out and uneasy. Very effective. Very effective. So throughout the deepening of this relationship he has with Dao, some things happen and you start to wonder what's real, what's not, what's going on. Maybe that's supposed to be the psychologically thrilling part of this film. I don't feel that thriller is a good for this. It's more of a character drama to me. There were initially some things I had marked down as a con, or maybe specifically one thing that I had marked down as a con. There is a moment where he sees that she has written a number on his palm, and this becomes very important. The problem that I was having was, how the heck was this number able to stay legible for as long as it did, given everything that he was doing throughout the movie? He was showering, he ended up swimming in like this lake or whatever. There's a lot of sweating going on in his life because of everything that is happening with him. And I just found it very hard to believe that he still would have been able to make out what these numbers were. However, now that the movie's over, it might not be fair to call that a con. Maybe the explanation is in what is revealed at the end of the movie. I don't know. If that was the only issue I had with the film, that would really be a non-issue. My main issue with this movie has absolutely nothing to do with the acting or the directing, the pacing. I felt that technically this movie was fine. It's just the story. I did not click with this character. Maybe you're not supposed to. I did not click with the story. And though I wanted redemption for this guy, like I said, he made it so hard that by the time we get to a point that maybe he's turning a corner and things are looking good, and they still kind of are, but he does stuff even after that, that while not necessarily frustrating in the same way it had been before, frustrating and stupid on a whole different level for me. There is a scene at the end where he does something with money that just blew my mind, and maybe it's supposed to make sense for this character given what has been going on with him and sort of the character arc he has had throughout the story. But to me, it just fundamentally was so ridiculous. I couldn't with that. I'm not going to spoil what it is, because though I do have issues with this movie, it's not really enough to dissuade you from checking it out, especially if you're familiar with the source material or you're just really into stuff like this. So I'm trying to tiptoe around some of my bigger issues with it. I think if you're familiar with the source material, you will totally get what I'm talking about when I express my frustration with this character. There was a quote that I saw on Goodreads about this book, and I was going to use that quote as my intro for this review, but I decided on what I ended up with. But that particular quote summarizes what I feel about this film. And the quote was, "I suppose there is a niche audience for this book, but it does not include me." And that's unfortunately how I feel about Ballad of a Small Player. You guys might feel completely different about it. I wish I had really loved this movie, but unfortunately just did not. So I think that's all I have to say for now, you guys. Bye.